and welcome back to the 8-Bit Creature Feature Drive-In Theater, where we dive into the crypts of cinematic history and take a look at those films that used to flicker across the drive-in screens all over America. On this episode, volcanic eruptions in rural Mexico unleash giant prehistoric scorpions that terrorize the countryside and eventually threaten Mexico City. So join me once again as we take a look at another schlocktastic classic, The Black Scorpion. The Black Scorpion is a 1957 giant monster film directed by Edward Ludwig, with special effects supervised by Willis O'Brien, and co-starring Richard Denning, Mara Corday, Carlos Rivas, and Mario Navarro. A series of devastating volcanic eruptions in rural Mexico opened deep fissures in the earth, unleashing giant prehistoric scorpions that terrorize the countryside. Geologists Hank Scott and Arturo Ramos, along with local rancher Teresa Alvarez, witness the creature's destructive rampage as they demolish villages, derail trains, and kill indiscriminately. The scientists discover that the monsters originate from a massive subterranean cavern where countless scorpions lurk, and must devise a daring plan to stop the largest and most deadly of them all before it reaches Mexico City and causes catastrophic devastation. Directed by Edward Ludwig, The Black Scorpion crawled onto screens as one of the more unsettling entries in the giant insect cycle, distinguished by its shadowy cinematography and eerie stop-motion effects. While many Atomic Age monster films leaned on camp spectacle, this Mexican-American co-production embraced a far darker tone, with cavern sequences drenched in ominous lighting, which further amplified the grotesque nature of the giant scorpions. The stop-motion creatures, animated with unnerving detail by Willis O'Brien's team, helps give the film a real nightmarish edge. There's no doubt that compared to other films I've reviewed on this channel, that the effects here are top-notch. The film opens in the rugged countryside of Mexico, where violent volcanic eruptions tear through the land, leaving ruin in their wake. In classic 1950s monster movie fashion, a narrator underscores the awesome force of nature and the toll it exacts on the people nearby. American geologist Hank Scott and his colleague Arturo Ramos arrive to investigate the seismic disturbances. On their journey, they encounter eerie signs of devastation, a demolished farmhouse, a stranded infant, and reports of strange attacks. These clues foreshadow the terrifying discovery that massive scorpions, long trapped beneath the earth, have been released by the volcanic upheaval. Richard Denning plays the role of American geologist Hank Scott with the firm, commanding presence that audiences came to expect from most 1950s monster movie heroes. His performance anchors the story, offering a sense of order amid the surrounding chaos. And while his delivery does lean more towards dependable than inspired, Denning clearly understands the assignment and executes it with precision. Denning will soon become a familiar face here on Drive-In Theater, as he appeared in numerous science fiction classics, including The Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Day the World Ended, and The Creature with the Atom Brain. Speaking of familiar faces, Mara Corday makes a welcome return to the channel as Teresa Alvarez, the resilient ranch owner swept up in the scorpion crisis. Best remembered for her role in The Giant Claw and her status as a 1950s pinup icon, Corday infuses the role with warmth and understated charm. Her chemistry with Denning provides a gentle romantic undercurrent that is convincing without ever distracting from the monster mayhem. It's always good to see Mara Corday back on the screen again. Carlos Rivas portrays Dr. Arturo Ramos, a geologist partnered with Richard Denning's character. Though Rivas built his career appearing across countless westerns, he did carve out a memorable place in genre history by appearing in the western dinosaur hybrid, The Beast of Hollow Mountain. Among the leads, Rivas delivers perhaps the most naturalistic performance, especially when contrasted with Denning's more rigid, authoritative presence. And finally, we come to Mario Navarro, a child actor whose presence helps to inject some innocence and levity into the film. Though his career was brief, marked by only a handful of appearances, including The Beast of Hollow Mountain, Navarro leaves a lasting impression. Portraying the role of Juanito, his wide-eyed responses to the scorpions captures raw fear and definitely grounds the spectacle in human vulnerability. The monstrous scorpions begin wreaking havoc across the countryside, attacking villages and leaving trails of destruction. Hank and Arturo, joined by scientist Dr. Velasco and rancher Teresa Alvarez, attempt to study the creatures and devise a way to stop them. The monsters prove nearly unstoppable, killing with venom and brute strength. Their investigation leads them into the scorpion's subterranean lair, a cavern filled with grotesque prehistoric predators. The team narrowly escapes, but the scorpions continue to spread terror, killing livestock and threatening human settlements. The team realizes that the largest of the scorpions is the most dangerous and must be destroyed before it devastates civilization. One of the film's greatest strengths lies in its special effects. Willis O'Brien, the legendary stop-motion animator behind the original King Kong, contributed to the scorpion sequences, and his craftsmanship really shines through. The creatures are menacing, grotesque, and surprisingly expressive, giving the film a sense of realism that really elevates it over many of its contemporaries. I'd even say that many of the attack sequences are downright terrifying even by today's standards. The scorpions exhibit a relentless brutality during their attacks, and some of them are quite graphic in their nature. The cavern sequence where the scorpions battle other monstrous creatures remains a highlight of practical effects artistry and a testament to O'Brien's enduring legacy. Unfortunately, this would be one of the last films that Willis O'Brien would work on before passing away only a few years later. The crisis escalates when the largest scorpion, far more powerful than the rest, emerges as the dominant threat. It eventually makes its way to Mexico City, where the military and scientists stage a final confrontation. In a climactic battle inside of a stadium, the giant scorpion is lured with bait and attacked with heavy weaponry. The battle is tense, with the scorpion's armored shell resisting conventional weapons. With the help of Dr. Velasco, a weak spot in the scorpion's anatomy is revealed. Armed with electrical equipment, the team formulates a daring plan, but the margin for success is razor thin, as they only have time enough for one shot in order to stop the ravenous black scorpion. What makes the black scorpion stand out among a lot of its contemporaries is its willingness to lean into pure monster mayhem without relying on the familiar crutches of atomic fallout or mad science. The scorpions erupt from the earth like a primal force, lending the film a sort of mythical quality that helps to elevate the rampage beyond the tried and true sci-fi tropes of the time. Brought to life with a blend of menace and aggressive personality, their slimy carapaces and snapping pincers cement them as unforgettable screen terrors. The human narrative adds a spirited sense of adventure with camaraderie between the two scientists at its core. With the inclusion of a strong female co-star, the film weaves in a romance subplot that feels a little bit more engaging than many of its peers. Even though some of the flirtations are a little on the silly side, it does help to give the audience a cast of likable characters to root for alongside of the monster mayhem. Ultimately, The Black Scorpion succeeds as a classic monster movie that embodies the spirit of 1950s genre filmmaking. It combines adventure, horror, and science fiction into a package that makes it a standout amongst the rest of the genre. For fans of stop-motion artistry and the simple joy of giant monsters on the loose, this film is a must-watch and an enduring reminder of how imagination and craft can turn a simple premise into a memorable classic. So with all that being said, I'm giving The Black Scorpion a solid 4 out of 5. This is a must-watch for anyone craving a classic 1950s giant monster film, especially those who appreciate the stop-motion artistry of the great Willis O'Brien. And that about wraps up this episode of the 8-Bit Creature Feature Drive-In Theater. As always, please like and subscribe, and definitely feel free to leave a comment down below. Have you ever seen The Black Scorpion before? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you ever done scorpion shots before? So comment below, I'd love to know your thoughts. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.